Man, I didn't assault nobody. It's crazy. Mess.
Attorney.
Oh, this man don't look like the guy that came see me.
Yeah, court appointment.
Yes, we are playing with the generator.
We are not in auto.
How long you been in here? Just today?
Yeah, last night.
For what?
Domestic assault. I didn't fucking touch her.
That's thanks off.
I broke the windshield. I broke the window out of my truck to get in it because my keys were in it.
Gentlemen, we are live and recording and we can hear
I'm sorry.
you.
I apologize, ma'am.
All right. Good afternoon, sir. Could you please tell me your name?
Yes, it's Mark Albert Hatfield.
Thank you. We are on the record in the People of the State of Michigan versus Mark Albert Hatfield, file 210985SM. Counsel, please identify yourselves for the record.
I do so on behalf of the people.
Stephen Halsey on behalf of Mr. Hatfield for the limited purpose of his arraignment.
All right, Mr. Hatfield, limited purpose just means Mr. Halseal's job is only to get you through today. If you want to have a lawyer after today, you either have to hire one or request a court-appointed attorney. So I know that he has spoken with you already and kind of explained the process. That's kind of his job, and then he will give you some advice as to how you should plead. But I'm going to read to you the charge or charges against you. I'm going to pop it up on the computer screen here in just a moment. And then I will ask if you understand the charge or charges, and we'll talk about bond and talk about an attorney. Should be on your computer screen.
It is, sir.
You see it? Okay, mine shut
I do.
off. Okay, good.
Technology.
Yeah, that's so strange. Let's see. All right.
I got everybody up in the up in the upper right-hand corner, though,
Okay.
if that helps.
All right. Yeah, my main screen's down, Teresa. We may need to get in contact with Lance to have him come take a look at our large computer screen. All right, sir, just alleged that on or about July 14th of this year, in an address at 1102 Elizabeth Street in the city and county of Midland, that the prosecutor's alleging that you made an assault or assault and battery upon Elisa Ann Trudell, an individual with whom you've had a dating relationship. If you're convicted of this crime, you could be required to pay restitution to anyone else's property, or if someone else was injured, you may have to pay restitution to them. And it is a misdemeanor with a maximum penalty of up to 93 days in jail and or $500 in fines plus court costs. There's consecutive sentence language here, but there's no additional charges, so it's not going to be consecutive. That's just standard boilerplate language on this charge. Do you understand the charge that I've just read against you, sir?
Yes, sir.
All right, Mr. Halsey, how should your client plead?
Mr. Hatfield enters a plea of not guilty and requests a court-appointed attorney.
All right. Sure.
Yes, sir.
Plea will be entered in the records of the court. Mr. Hatfield, there's a few things I have to ask to see if you qualify for a court-appointed attorney. So I'll ask those questions once I get that brought up. Six. Apologize. When we switch between civil and criminal cases, takes me a minute to get everything set. All right, I think we've got it now. So let me share the document. All right, the address, then I'll pop this up on the screen. The address that I have for you is 1102 Elizabeth Street. I'm going to order no contact, but I'm asking in general, is this your address?
Yes, that's actually my home. Lisa actually lives across the street.
She lives across the street. All right. So is this place you rent or
Yeah.
you buy? You own it outright?
Yes, Yes, Your Honor, I'm renting it.
How much do you pay in rent?
$675.
Single, married, divorced, or separated?
I'm single.
Do you have any minor children?
No.
Are you employed?
Yes, I work for First Star Logistics LLC. I'm a broker for them. I've not moved any freight. I move freight across the U.S. I've not moved any in probably the past 2 months.
So you haven't really worked with or been paid in the last 2 months?
Right.
You receive any type of disability or government assistance such as food stamps, Medicare, Medicaid, or Social Security disability?
No, sir.
You haven't had any income within the last 2 years. I will go ahead and appoint an attorney to represent you. Teresa, can we get the date and time for the pre-trial?
July 27th at 9 a.m.
7/27 at 9 a.m. So, sir, is there a telephone number that we could place on the form so that if your attorney needs to make contact with you after the pre-trial that they could do that?
Yes, sir. It's 989-492-8595.
And is this a smartphone so you would be able to do a Zoom call if we had it that way? We can do it in court.
It's a either way. If it's not, I will be in court. Whatever we have to do, Your Honor.
All right. Is there an email that we could send you instructions if you needed to do the?
Yes.
That? Okay.
Yes, my work email. It's markhatfield.fsl. It's franksamlarry@gmail.com.
markhatfield.fsl@gmail.com.
Yes, sir.
Okay, good. Got both of those pieces of information. So, Mr. Housey, would you like to argue bond?
I don't believe that Mr. Hatfield poses any flight risk. He's employed, stable in the community for a long time. He does have some criminal history, but it's some time ago. I believe that most of it is at least 10 years ago. He has some driving on suspended license, and he did have a felony DUI where he did serve some time for that. But again, that nothing assaultive in nature, nothing violent, and that was some time ago. This specific incident, apparently he and Ms. Trudell were both drinking. Apparently she was drinking much more heavily at his home. They had a dispute, and she began to smash beer bottles, smash other items in the house, smash out the windows of his home from the inside. Mr. Hatfield left the residence to get away from that. He's the one who called law enforcement for assistance. And when they arrived, he was standing outside. She was still in the house breaking things. And when she saw the officers arrive, she went outside. And the officer said that her face was a little red. She said, well, he slapped me. Mr. Hatfield adamantly maintains he never touched Ms. Trudell. And I think that it's understandable that someone who's been drinking heavily, panting, breaking things, smashing things, yelling, running outside would quite possibly be a little flushed and look red in the face. I think Mr. Hatfield poses no threat to the public or to anyone in particular, and I ask that the court take those things into consideration when setting bond today. Thank you.
All right. Ms. Dussault, any comment regarding bond?
Your Honor, we would ask that the no contact order be put in place and that there not be any alcohol or drugs while he's on bond. They were both drinking that night. However, to say that she was drinking more heavily than him would be just untrue. They both submitted to PBTs, and in fact, he came back higher than hers. But not by much. They were pretty close, 08 and 07. So at any rate, the police report does make mention of the fact that the right side of her face appeared red, which I believe is where she indicated she was slapped. I think there's adequate reason for both of the conditions that I mentioned, as well as participation in pretrial services and other standard conditions.
All right, thank you. Well, Mr. Hatfield, a judge has a choice to make regarding bond. I can leave you in the jail. If I leave you in the jail, then I know you'll appear and I know you won't get any more trouble. Or I can let you out. And if I do, I could make you pay money to be able to get out. But it shouldn't be an impediment to have you come to court. You've not worked in a couple of months, so I'm not going to order money. But I can also make sure that you're not getting in any additional trouble. I can order some type of service. And to make my determination bond, I have to take a look under Court Rule 6106 F1. It says I can look at your prior criminal history. You do have 18. This is your 18th time being involved in the criminal justice system. Though a lot of them are driving while license suspended, you did have a conviction from a long time ago for possession of marijuana. You've had an indecent exposure in Midland in 1885, reckless driving in Tennessee, reduced down for an OWI. You've had other drinking crimes in 2006, leaving the scene of property damage accident in Florida, which many times court believes that that's probably a drunk driving that you just weren't found driving. And then in 2010, you had an OWI with an occupant less than 16 it's probably the felony. Most recent one was 2018. You've had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 different driving while license suspended. So you've had some circumstances where you've not complied with the law. My job is to make sure there's no risk. Make sure you show to court. I think that you're in court, so if it's going to be a PR bond, that means you're getting out on your own name. I am going to order pretrial services. You're not to have any contact with the victim. If she lives across the street, then I'm not going to order you. If she lives across the street, you just can't go to her home. You can't have any contact with her directly or indirectly. No text messages, Facebook messages, any type of. You're not to engage in any threatening, intimidating, violent, aggressive, abusive behavior towards any person. Cannot leave the state of Michigan without permission. Time you're required. May not consume alcoholic beverages. There was alcohol involved. We have a lot of at least 3 drunk driving cases that I can see. So no alcohol, no illegal drugs, no recreational marijuana. And I'm going to have you engage in pretrial services. Pretrial services will have you get you assessed to see if there's any counseling that needs to be done. My probation agents will be in touch with you. You're not on probation. You're still presumed innocent until proven guilty. It's just a group of people that I have that manage the pretrial services. So as long as you're following those out on bond, the pretrial will be between the lawyer that's appointed for you and the prosecutor, just to see if there's an offer for you to consider. So you will not be involved on that date. Your lawyer will be in touch with you at the telephone number or email address that you'd given to us. So if that changes, let us know. And then after that date on the 27th, we'll either set it for a trial or set it for a plea, depending on what the negotiations are. Do you understand?
Okay. Yes, sir.
That's your case then. Thank you.
Thank you.
Your Honor, did you order testing on that?
If I didn't, I meant to. Yes.
All right, thank you.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, Your Honor.
Could you tell me your name, please?
Kelvin Lyon, KELVIN-LYON.
Thank you, Mr. Lyon. We are on the record, the People, State of Michigan versus Kelvin Wayne Lyon. This is file 21-0984SM. Counsel, identify yourself for the record.
I do so on behalf of the people.
Stephen Houseel on behalf of Mr. Lyon for the limited purpose of his arraignment.
Mr. Lyon, the limited purpose needs Mr. to help you today. If you want to have a lawyer after today, you either have to hire one or request one. You understand?
Yes, sir.
All I'm doing right now is sharing with you the document that you can see, and it should be on your computer screen just about. Well, it's taking its own sweet time. I'm not showing this on the computer screen. Is it on your computer screen at this time?
There's a paper up there of some sort.
Hard to read. Yeah, that's all right. So I'll just read it to you. We just put it up there because some people are visual and other people are auditory. And so I read it to people and then I let them look at it if they want to see it. So In this case, sir, you are charged with the crime of domestic violence. The reason why you're charged with this crime is the prosecutor's office is alleging that on or about July 13th, that you were at an address that's 1416 Haley Street in the city and county of Midland,
I live there.
and that you made an assault or assault and battery upon a Catherine Jeremias, an individual with whom you've had a dating relationship, or a resident, former resident of your household. If you're convicted of this crime, it's a misdemeanor punishable by up to 93 days in jail and or $500 in fines plus court costs. Do you understand the charge that I've just read to you?
Yes, sir.
All right, Mr. Halsey, how should your client plead?
Mr. Lyon enters a plea of not guilty and requests a court-appointed attorney.
All right, Mr. Lyon, I'm going to ask you a few questions then. I'll enter a not guilty plea for you. We'll set this for a pre-trial. Is it going to be July 27th still, Teresa?
If he is granted an attorney, Your Honor, that is correct.
Okay. Mr. Lyon, I show that you live at 1416 Haley Street, 1/2. Must be
Yes,
two places there. Okay. Is
Yes,
that a place
sir.
you rent? Is that a place you're renting, buying, or do you live with someone else?
Well, the girl that this case is alleged to, she owns that whole crib, and the backside of it is like an efficiency apartment. I'm renting that. I gave her $400, and I watched her dogs while she went to California, and then I get July for free and to the end of this month. But I can move down to my friend's house down to John's at 1112 Haley, so that there ain't no conflict. Because I don't want no conflict with this lady. We did have a relationship, but we broke it off. And
All right. Are you single, married, divorced, or separated?
I'm single, Your Honor. Actually, well, I'm divorced, but she died in COVID.
Oh,
And
boy,
that
I'm sorry to hear
COVID.
that.
Yeah, thank you, sir.
Do you have any minor children?
No, sir.
Okay. Are you working?
No, I get Social Security disability.
Okay.
And
I will go ahead and appoint an attorney for you then. Teresa, you said July 27th at 9 o'clock, correct?
Correct.
Is there a telephone number, sir, that we can use so your lawyer can get in touch with you?
yes, there is. It's 989-817-1050. But Your Honor, on that bond issue, I know we ain't got to yet, but I got two puppy chow, Akita chows, and they're like 10 weeks old, and they've been alone in the house since I've been in here.
Okay, so you're going to have to. I'm going to order no contact between the two of you, so you're going to have to figure out a way to have a friend maybe go get them.
I'll have John go down here and get them.
Yeah, have John go down and get them because you're not going to be able to go to the house. All right, argument
Yes,
for bond, Mr. Halsey.
I don't believe that Mr. Lyon is a flight risk. He appears to appear in court when he's supposed to. He does have some history with the justice system, including some felony charges. I'm not aware specifically of any violent background, although he did recently have a CCW charge for which he served some time. In this instant case, the one right here, Ms. Jeremiah is not the complaining witness, but some neighbors had notified law enforcement, called dispatch because of arguing between the two of them, and that's caused the police response. I don't believe that Ms. Jeremiah claimed that Mr. Lyon had done anything to her. However, some of the neighbors had stated that they had seen some interaction between them. And I just ask that the court take those things into consideration when setting bond today. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Dusso, any comment regarding bond?
Yes, Your Honor, we would ask that the no contact be put in place. The police report notes that the police had been out to deal with them, I believe, 6 different times in the 48 hours preceding when this complaint was made. There's obviously, they're not getting along. They don't need to be around each other. I think that'd be better for everybody. We would also ask that he not be having alcohol or drugs while on bond. Again, the report noted that he was noticeably intoxicated when the police showed up. So again, I think participation in pretrial services and other standard terms are appropriate here.
All right. Mr. Lyon, are you currently on probation for that CCW case, or you're all done?
No, sir. It was pretty much time served. No, they're just having me pay some fines. The gun was, I guess, sent to a lab, and it wasn't even fireable. It's like the gun was old as dirt. And then there was 3 knives. I didn't know we didn't supposed to obtain fixed blade knives.
Okay. I don't need to go into the details. I just need to know whether or not another court might be holding you, even if I let you out. No,
they're not. No, right. Sir.
So I'm going to set a PR bond in this case. There'll be no contact with the victim. You may not have any alcoholic beverages or illegal drugs. You're going to be subject to random drug and alcohol testing. I want you to get an assessment done at J&A. You got 23 different convictions stemming back from 1982, and he does things like a disorderly person being intoxicated in 2011, controlled substances in 2014 felony. He's gone to prison for drug crimes. He's done B&Es. He has had some resist obstruct, so he has had some criminal history that is violent. You may not leave state of Michigan without permission of the court. Must appear in court every time you're required. You may not have any contact with the victim in this case. Doesn't sound like it's a healthy relationship anyway. 6 times within 48 hours is too much. You are not to consume alcoholic beverages, illegal drugs, or recreational marijuana, subject to random drug and alcohol testing, and you will report through the court-ordered pretrial services, so they'll get in contact with you by that telephone number. Okay?
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you. We'll be adjourned.
Excuse me, Your Honor.
Yes, Barb?
Can you check and see if he has an email address, please?
Do you have an email address?
Yes, it's Kelvin. Kelvin Lyon at gmail.com.
Okay. Thank you. We'll get in touch with you by that.
Kelvin Lyon 194 at gmail.com.
Okay. Must be another Kelvin Lyon had Gmail account. Must be.
Yeah, they made it. That stuff's hard for me to figure out on them computer stuff.
All right.
I'm not too versed at it.
All right.
Thank you, sir.
This time. Thank you.
I get up now?
Yep. You're all set.
Thank you. Get out of this stuff.
I need her to. He's going back to her. Okay. You can have a seat right there, sir.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
Could you tell me your name, please?
Hunter Donnelly.
We are on the record. The People's State of Michigan versus Hunter Anthony Duke Donnelly. File 21-0986FY. Counsel, identify yourselves for the record.
Mattiadis on behalf of the people.
Stephen Halsey on behalf of Mr. Donnelly for the limited purpose of his arraignment.
All right, Mr. Donnelly, Mr. Houseel is here today just to help you through this process. If you wish to have a lawyer after today's date, you either have to hire one or request a court-appointed attorney. Do you understand?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. I'm going to show you a copy of the document that you're being charged with. Is it showing up on your computer screen?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. So here, the prosecuting attorney's office, I'm going to slide down to see how many we have. I show that you have 4 different crimes that you're charged with. So I'm going to read those to you, and then I'll ask if you understand them. I'm not asking you to agree with them or admit to them. I'll talk to Mr. Houseel about that. But at this time, you're charged with 4 crimes. It is alleged that on or about July 7th of this year at 2122 South 10 Mile Road, Porter Township, Midland County, Michigan, that in count 1, they charged you with criminal sexual conduct in the 1st degree. The reason why you're charged with that is that it is alleged you did engage in sexual penetration, which was vaginal intercourse with Callie Marie White under circumstances involving the commission of another felony, which was capturing image of an unclothed person. If you're convicted of this crime, it's a sex offender registration tier 3 offense, sex offender registry, and it is a imprisonment potentially up to life in prison or any term of years, a mandatory lifetime electronic monitoring, mandatory AIDS STD testing, DNA to be taken upon arrest. Court may impose consecutive sentences under 750.520B3. Count 2, you're charged with criminal sexual conduct in the 3rd degree and incapacitated victim. It is alleged you did engage in sexual penetration, vaginal intercourse with Callie Marie White, said defendant knowing or having reason to know the victim was physically helpless. If you're convicted of this crime, it's a tier 3 sex offender registration case. It is also prisonable up to 15 years in prison, mandatory AIDS STD testing, DNA to be taken upon arrest. Count 3, you're charged with criminal sexual conduct in the 3rd degree, incapacitated victim. It is alleged that you did engage in sexual penetration, cunnilingus, with Callie Marie White, said defendant knowing or having reason to know the victim was physically helpless. If you're convicted, it's a tier 3 sex offender registration act, as well as a potentially up to 15 years in prison, mandatory AIDS STD testing, DNA to be taken upon arrest. In count 4, you're charged with capturing, distributing image of unclothed persons. It is alleged you did photograph or otherwise capture or record visual image of unclad genitalia of Callie Marie White under circumstances where the individual had reasoned expectations of privacy. If you're convicted of this crime, it's a felony punishable by up to 5 years in prison and or $5,000 in fines plus court costs. Do you understand the charges and the maximum penalties that I've just read?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Halseal, how should your client plead to this?
Mr. Donnelly enters a plea of not guilty and requests a court-appointed attorney.
All right, I will grant the court-appointed attorney for this case. Do we have a probable cause conference and a preliminary examination date? Teresa.
Your Honor, the PCC is July 27th at 1 and the exam August 3rd at 4 o'clock.
Okay. All right. Mr. Halseal, your argument for bond, sir.
Yeah. Mr. Donnelly tells me that he is not a flight risk, that he will be in court whenever he is supposed to be here. And my understanding is that he does have some criminal history, including some serious incidences on his criminal history. However, Mr. Donnelly tells me that he believes that a PR bond is appropriate for him and that he would like to request that from the court. So simply ask that the court take Mr. Donnelly's request into consideration. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Dusso, any comment regarding the bond?
We're obviously opposed to a PR bond in this case. Just first of all, given the nature of the charges being criminal sexual conduct, 1st degree, 3rd degree, another associated felony. Also looking at his history, I believe just on Monday, it appears that he was convicted in a jury trial for charge in Isabella County. He's also was on heightened probation for assault with a deadly weapon, 3 counts of that from 2019. He's got a receiving and concealing and some juvenile history as well. So unfortunately, Mr. Donnelly has been no stranger to the criminal justice system for basically all of his adult life and even before that. Particularly given the facts of this case, there's some pretty serious evidence against Mr. Donnelly. There are videos that were taken and basically confession or statements made by him as to these events. So I think there is ample reason to impose a high cash bond requirement in this case. Additionally, we'd ask that he not have any contact with the victim and just generally speaking, not have any kind of assaultive behavior in the event that he were to get out.
Thank you. Court Rule 6106B says that the court can take into consideration the fact that the defendant was on probation for the charge of assault with a dangerous weapon. That is dangerous, violent felony. If you look under Court Rule 6106B, and I may deny pretrial release to a defendant charged with committing a violent felony, which criminal sexual conduct first degree is, and part A, which is, so it's 106B1 A little I, 2 I, A says at the time of the commission of the violent felony, the defendant was on probation, parole, or released pending trial for any violent felony. That alone could be enough. Court Rule 6106B, subpart B, says the defendant charged with criminal sexual conduct in the first degree, if the court finds the proof of the defendant's guilt is evident or presumption great, I may deny bond. And here, I was the magistrate who swore this out. There are video pictures of allegedly the defendant committing sexual acts over the course of 2 different days with an incapacitated victim. She found them by finding them on his phone, and he admitted to it. High probability. I don't think he even understands at this point in time how deep trouble that he potentially is in, asking for a PR bond. It's unreasonable. I'm not ordering it. There's no bond in this case, therefore there's no bond terms, although I guess hold him contempt. There's no contact with the victim, but I'm denying bond. He will sit in jail pending these charges. We'll be adjourned on this case. Thank you.
I have a job though.
Well, unless it's in the jail, you're not going to it. We're all
All right,
set.
I'm calling
Thank
my
you.
prosecutor. I'm calling my judge and having all you guys investigate me.
I don't think that's going to make a difference in calling you.
I'm right here.
Okay. All right. We'll be adjourned on those files. So we do have somebody that walked in who was on the docket for today. So, sir, if you would please come on up.
Sir.
Are you Santiago Cantu?
Yes, sir.
Calling case of the People State of Michigan versus Santiago Cantu, file 20-0366ST. Counsel, identify yourselves for the record.
I do so on behalf of the people.
Stephen Houseel on behalf of Mr. Cantu for the limited purpose of his arraignment.
All right. Mr. Cantu, you were supposed to be here on June 9th for an arraignment. Why? That was by Zoom. Why couldn't you even come to court? By Zoom?
In all honesty, I just laziness.
Just laziness. Do you work?
When the court date that I had before that, there were stipulations made that if I pretty much got my license that we could move forward with it. And this was during the whole COVID thing. And I set the appointment and they sent me out to July. Well, I had that court date and pretty much all I had to do was go to it. And
did you go?
Tell them that no, I did not. And tell them how far my court or how far it was out that I could get into the Secretary of State. And
how old are you?
26.
You're 26 years old. You're acting like a 15-year-old. You got court dates, which I could put you in jail. I got a deputy right here. Is there any room in the jail?
Yes, sir.
Does the van still run to
Yeah.
the jail?
Yes, sir.
You have time to take him to the jail if I order it? Mr. Cantu, I don't think you're taking this that seriously. You had an opportunity to maybe get this reduced. You didn't even attend that. You didn't attend court by Zoom. How hard is it to get out of bed? Some people don't even get out of bed. They just put the phone up and start talking to me. Why are you so lack so motivation?
Honestly, like I said, it was just pure laziness.
Do you work?
I haven't started yet, but I just got a job at the casino.
How do you pay for your where you live?
I have a little side gig of detailing cars.
You have a little side gig of detailing cars.
Yeah, I have.
You still living with your parents?
I have a Facebook page where I get most of my clients.
You still live with your parents?
No.
How can you run a business when you can't even keep track of dates and times and places?
Well, the business has only been intact for the last couple months. So from that time that I missed that court date till now, I've made a lot of changes. I'm not gonna make excuses. I'm not gonna say I did this or did that or missed it because of this or that.
Because you've not done anything.
It was based. I feel like I had satisfaction with the fact that I set the date to go to Secretary of State, and it just.
What about if your clients had you do a whole bunch of work and they had satisfaction in saying, I plan on paying you? Does that work in your world or no?
Definitely not.
You clean my car and I'm thinking about it. You're on my mind. Does that fill your wallet?
No, sir.
You've done nothing to get your license back. You made an appointment that you didn't attend. Is that what you're telling me?
Yes.
All right, Ms. Dusso,
I knew that I had the warrant, and that's why, like I said, I've
You
made
did
a
do
lot of
that.
changes in the last year, and
Like
that's
what?
why I called the courthouse to set up this arraignment and everything, because I want to get it taken care of.
You've got a civil warrant. You got a civil warrant out of Eaton County too for $5,407. You take care of that.
Actually, I pay Eaton County. Eaton County takes money out of my unemployment every single month.
You have unemployment, but you have a job?
Well, I just started. I haven't even started yet. I'm still filling out paper. I haven't even went to
training.
Yeah, not training. Orientation. I haven't even went to orientation yet, but I got the job. I got hired in that security.
You work security and you have no motivation? How are you ever going to stop anybody from stealing from the tribe?
Well, like I said, Your Honor, I've made a lot of changes in the last year.
What changes have you made?
Just the fact that I know that I need to take care of myself, and I need to take care of my business, and I need to take care of what I got going on.
All right. Ms. Dusso, is there an offer in the file for Mr. Cantu to consider?
So I guess I'm a little unclear. Does he have his license back if he didn't go to his Secretary of State?
Was satisfied with the fact of setting an appointment that he didn't make.
So I'm assuming based on that he does not have a valid license at this point.
You have a valid license?
No, and actually before last night I tried to set another appointment for Secretary of State, and they will not allow me. They won't allow me to set the
because you missed it. You missed
because
the
I
last
have
one.
a warrant. Because I have a warrant.
All right.
At this point, there would be no offer then because it was contingent on him getting this done.
All right, Mr. Halseal, my inclination, because this is a nonviolent offense, that this is a case, though he does have 3 prior criminal records, I don't think setting this out for him to have a lower charge is fair to the prosecutors. I'm not going to put him in jail. He did show up. At least he did that. So if he pleads, it would just be fines and costs today. Do you have any advice for Mr. Cantu?
I would suggest that Mr. Cantu, based on all the things that he's explained today and the input from Ms. Dusso, that accepting the situation today and pleading guilty would be appropriate.
All right. Mr. Cantu, we can make this case go away now if you wish to plead guilty to the charge. Do you wish to plead guilty?
Yes, sir.
Stand up, raise your right hand, and be sworn in. Do you solemnly swear? That's all right. Yeah, make sure those drawers stay up. Do you solemnly swear or affirm testimony you're about to give is the truth, whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, sir.
Put your hand down now. Has anyone? I told you that you're not going to jail. You're going to be convicted. I'm going to give you fines and costs.
Okay.
You can rely on that promise, but has anyone promised you more than this to get you to plead or threatened you to get you to plead when you really do not want to?
No, sir.
Are you under the influence of any medicine, drugs, or alcohol?
No, sir.
If you enter this plea, you'll not have a trial. Could have a trial by jury, or if you or the prosecutor agreed, you could have a bench trial, but there'll be no trial. You're making this decision. Mr. Halseal is here today, but you could have hired your own lawyer, or you could have represented yourself. You're waiving the right to remain silent, not every silence used against you, the right to be presumed innocent until proven guilty beyond a reasonable doubt, and the right to confront your accusers, call witnesses, and testify. Do you understand each of these rights?
Yes, sir.
Do you waive these rights to enter this plea?
Yes, sir.
How do you plead to not having a license on February 26th of 2020? Guilty, not guilty, or stand mute?
Guilty.
On February 26th of last year, were you driving, looks like on Isabella Road, which is M20, near in Lee Township, Midland County, Michigan?
Yes, sir.
On that day, did you have a valid driver's license?
No, sir.
Mr. Halseal, have I complied with the court rule and had an adequate factual basis?
Yes, Your Honor.
Do you agree, Ms. Dusso?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. I find that the plea has been made knowingly, understandingly, voluntarily, and accurately. Will enter in the records of the court as not having a license. I show that your license was expired in 2016 for 4 years. You could have got a college degree in the amount of time that you did not have a valid driver's license. Is there any restitution I need to be concerned about?
No, Your Honor.
Anything you wish to say on behalf of your client, Mr. Alsteel?
No, Your Honor.
Anything you wish to say in your own behalf, sir?
I appreciate this.
Sentence of the court, you'll pay
Your
$75.
Honor?
Yes.
I'm sorry, I did want to let the court know he is suspended for failing to appear. The suspension fee is $45.
You know that. So it's $75 crime victim rights fee, $50 state assessment fee, $100 in fines, $45 in court costs. Can I do it that way, Deb? Deb?
Yep,
That's-
that's fine, Your Honor.
You have 21 days to appeal the sentence, 14 days to question court appointed attorney to appeal the sentence. Otherwise, let's pay your fines and costs. It's time to grow up. You obviously you took some initiative today to come in. It takes a lot to have somebody get after you, and I did, and I got after you pretty hard, and I asked the deputy whether to take you to jail, and I thought you withstood that very well. So there's redeeming qualities, but this laziness is going to cause you to be broke your whole life, and it's going to rob you of your potential. It's time to change your life and be the man you're supposed to be. Not this. This is stupid. You're not stupid, but this is stupid.
Yes, sir.
You're in trouble for something that since 2016 you've not gotten your license. Sounds like you've got some work that's ahead of you. Let's make more of your life than this. There's a lot of people who wish that they had your body build, because you're a big strapping guy, your health, because you don't appear to be sick, your mind, because you appear to be intelligent, you can talk with me. They would trade everything with you in a heartbeat because of all their circumstances. Don't waste your life.
Yes, sir.
All right, make a payment or payment plan over to the civil window or criminal window. We're adjourned.
Thank you very much. I really appreciate you, sir.
All right.
Honestly, I really do.
Let's make a change. That's how you can do it.
Definitely.
Sergeant, thank you very much. I didn't have anybody for you to take to jail today.
All right, sir. Have a great day.
Thank you. You too.
Always available.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Alsteel. Thank you, Ms. Dusso.
Thank you.
Okay, so it looks like I've got, we can take the recording off. Teresa, you can leave up the broadcasting if you wish. Mr. Wright, good afternoon, sir. You're going to have to connect the audio. Teresa, do you have that sign before you make me the host? Can you pop that up? I don't have it on my desktop. Oh, Teresa, by the way, could you get in touch with Lance? When I go to share the document, it is not showing it. There's a setting that got changed or something got changed. We have that jury trial tomorrow. I'm not able to show the document on the screen. It goes black.
Okay.
I haven't come down. Something changed recently. I don't know what it was. I mean, it changed like from lunch till now. Kayla, I've got that order in here if you want to come grab it.
Thank you. Sorry, I didn't want to interrupt you.
No, you're fine. I got it up on the, actually, we still don't have Mr. Wright connecting to audio yet.
3rd on here, did I?
No,
Okay, you just read it that way. I'm like,
I just
that
read it
was a
wrong.
Saturday.
Did I say the 3rd?
Yeah, you said October 3rd at first and then you switched
Yeah.
it, but I'm like, I
Yeah,
know
they
I
both heard that, so I just messed up. We put that back up again, Teresa, and then write Mr. Wright at the top if you can put his name in the document. Oh, we got it. Mr. Wright, can you hear me?
Yes. Yes, sir.
All right. We have an appeal. I'm going to call the case of James Wright versus Absolute Construction, file 21-40458SC. Mr. Wright, please state your name.
James Wright.
Michaela, could you tell me whether or not there's anybody in the, Teresa, could you tell me if anybody's in the waiting room? Michaela, could you tell me if anybody's in the courthouse?
There's no one in the virtual waiting room.
Your Honor, there is somebody at our table. I'm going to ask what his name is.
All right, thank you. We'll get started here, Mr. Wright, in just a moment.
That gentleman at the window actually just came out of court, so he's not for this case.
Okay. Mr. Wright, today's time and date set for an appeal. Did you appeal the decision from the magistrate, or did did the Absolute Construction?
I did.
Okay. And here, I'm going to make my own decision. So there's no appeal from my decision after this, but I will listen to what you have to say. I see here in the documents that you were asking for $815 because it says the reasons for the claim is put stop payment on paycheck.
Yes.
All right. So I'm going to guess that you worked for Absolute Construction. Is that
yes,
true?
I did. Yes.
What did you do for Absolute Construction?
I was employed by the hour to do metal commercial framing on the Old Navy store in Midland.
All right. And how much did you make per hour?
$25.
$25 an hour. And when did you work for Absolute Construction?
Yes. I worked for them for a week.
1 week. And what was the time? What week did you work for them?
It would have been towards the end of April. I don't have the dates with me.
April of this year?
Yes. Or not April, towards the end of February.
End of February.
Yeah, like the last week of February.
So how many hours did you work?
8 hours a day for 4 days.
So 32 hours?
Yes, sir.
You got paid $25 an hour?
Yes.
What kind of an employee were you? An employee or were you a 1099?
I was 1099.
You said that he did give you a paycheck?
They give me, they put a deposit into my checking account.
Okay, how much went into your checking account?
$800.
$800 went into your checking account. What happened to that money?
They took it back 3 days after they put it in there.
Your bank did that?
No, Absolute Construction did. They put a stop payment on it and took the money back.
Did you ask them why they did that?
Yes, and it was because I quit. I quit because they didn't have materials for the job, and I was getting a lot of grief from the superintendent of the job. I couldn't get no answers from them about anything. Every time I tried to get a hold of them, they were too busy to deal with me. Just stay there, get the job done is what they kept telling me. Just stay there, make it look good, make it look like you're doing something. We'll get materials to you as soon as we can.
So you stayed on that job for 32 hours, and that's the only payment you would have received was the $800 that they withdrew back from your account.
Yes, sir. I did do actual work there in the process. There was some material there, So we laid out what we could and we did as much as we could do.
There was other workers?
Yes, there was another guy with me. In fact, he's sitting in the truck here with me right now. We were partners working together.
So you asked for $815. Why'd you ask for $815?
Because the 15 is for what it cost me to have them take the money back out of my bank account.
So your bank charged you $15?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. Well, did people from Absolute Construction show up to the last hearing?
Yes.
They didn't show up today. All right, I'm going to grant you your $815 plus costs.
All
by
right.
default.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We'll be adjourned.
Who do I need to contact about this?
Michaela, are you still listening?
Yes, I am. So just like last time when you received the judgment in the mail, you have to
Yes.
wait 21 days to start collections on it.
Okay.
And then I will include a brochure too, because in order to do collections, you do have to know some information. So I will send that brochure with your judgment included.
Okay. Thank you very much.
All right, we're all set. Thank you, Mr. Wright.
Thank you. Have a good day.
You too.